Alrighty then. So I'm gonna go ahead. I've started this recording. Welcome, by the way. That's
Thank you.
directed at you. It's your first time casting with me. I'm excited.
It is. I'm excited too. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen tonight. So, hopefully it'll be a great end to my evening.
Yep. No, these games are always fun. For those of you who don't know, either if you're watching the stream or maybe checking out a VOD on YouTube, these are the games on Milkcast that are part of the league, the Milkcast League. Pretty much what happened, 2-3 weeks ago, we started doing these casted in-house games for the Reddit community, and then turned it into a league where teams can also play each other. So this is team, on the left we have WalleMarno's Backpack. WalleMarno is, of course, the team captain and jungler, and then purple team on the right is Team BMT. WalleMarno's Backpack, one of the best teams we have in this little league. They have only lost, I think, one game. So that puts them in, I think, second position on the leaderboard. So very good job. And BMT, of course, famous, legendary. And they were actually one of the first teams who played in these in-house games. So
Very interesting. I'm excited. I'm losing my words here.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, one of the great things that we've seen about Blue Team, WalleMarno's Backpack, is they really coordinate as a team. They group up very early for that kind of M5 style counter jungling. They get timers of the buffs. They invade as 3, 4, 5 and catch unsuspecting teams kind of off guard. So shall be interesting to see. We do see a Maokai ban as well as a Lulu ban. One thing I always talk about is that we always see those solo queue bans, right? Just like strong champs, like Shen, Lee Sin, Shaco, things that have something that you're sort of afraid of just in their kit. And then some of the bans we also see are kind of more targeted at an individual who plays the champs well. So Gragas ban, for instance, is probably targeted at the blue team's AP mid player, Baranabas. Not so sure about that Maokai ban, but interesting ban so far. We don't see Shaco banned, he has kind of fallen out of favor. He's very single target, but still, I love seeing Shaco. What about you? I love seeing Shaco in these games because he's so fun to watch. He's such a little shit.
I like seeing him if I'm not in the game.
Exactly.
So.
That's the thing. It's like nobody likes playing against Shaco because you're just minding your own business, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm feared. Oh, and now I'm dead because I got crit for 160 at level 3.
Exactly.
But when you're watching him, it's a whole different story.
One of my favorite things is like when you're trying to chase him and he's running away, he just kind of disappears and just goes over a wall and you can't get him, and you're just like, really?
And he just goes whoop, 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 whoop,
or you see him place a box. Yeah, and you see him place a box, you're just like, might as well just not chase him now. So.
Exactly.
So it is fun to watch him, but like I said, I don't want to be in a game with Shaco, so I just kind of tend to do draft where he's banned about 98% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But some very interesting choices. We see Jenna being most likely picked up as a support. Skarner, that's going to be jungling. And then we have MF. So, very good, strong AD carry. And over on the purple team, we see a Soraka along with an Alistar. So that's very interesting choice. I love seeing an Alistar jungle because as much as I think it's silly, I think he definitely does pull off some really great ganks, especially with that headbutt and that pulverize. He's very, very strong.
Yep.
And he tends to do very well in the jungle.
Yep.
So we see he's going to be, Ezreal's going to be paired up with the Soraka support. So very good choice. Ezreal's very good late game. I enjoy seeing Ezreal out.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of Ezreal. A lot for a very long time, people have said he's weak. And I think a huge component of why people think he's weak is that early mid, they can't hit his skill shots. And then late game, they forget to auto-attack with that excellent 50% AS steroid passive. But I think that he's a super strong choice. I think he's the only AD carry in the game who has a true blink. Lots of AD carries have escapes. but Ezreal has a true blink where it will instantly move you from one part of the map to another. It's not like a, it's not like it's not like a dash, if you know sort of the difference. But really, it does make a big difference, especially, right now he has that jungle Alistar on his team. But for instance, a blink, if you blink out of an Alistar headbutt, it's versus if you kind of use like a Corki Valkyrie or just on a rocket jump, there's a huge difference in how that actually plays out. So yeah, I mean, I've loved Ezreal for a very long time, and I think he is a very underrated AD carry. One mistake I think Purple Team made is that they didn't ban WalleMarno's Skarner. Very, very, very effective Skarner play. He hasn't lost a single game of Skarner so far in this league, and I really like the team comp coming out of blue. They have a very strong initiator. They have that Annie for the AoE damage. They have a Kali for the single target. Misfortune, picked up by Sacred Venge, he's been doing a fantastic job. He's been doing a fantastic job of playing her. And then Janna, excellent support to peel with. So really, in terms of like the synergy between what blue team, really wants from a team comp, they have the tank, who can initiate. They have the support who can peel, who can disengage, and then they have so much damage from the likes of MF, Akali, and Annie. Purple team, we shall see a Kassadin being picked up. Interesting choice there. I don't really see Kassadin that much anymore these days.
I don't see him very much more either. Like I said, I play a lot of draft, and Kassadin tends to be one of those characters that are banned a lot because even though as the way I see, he's not great at farming, but he is great, just like an Ahri, at level 6, going and pulling off kills. He feeds off of kills, and he is great at it. And if he starts getting kills, he snowballs really, really bad. So he's one of those, and I kind of see him as an Israel play. If you can play a Kassadin, he is very deadly. If I play a Kassadin or an Israel, and I do play a lot of AD carries and AP mids, it doesn't work. It's like Blanc. I'm not afraid to admit it. I can't do it.
That's sort of the thing, isn't it? It's like you get stomped by a Kassadin, and then you play Kassadin, and you're like, oh, like I have to just try and last hit as a melee, and I'm wasting all my mana trying to last hit with my Q. It's like, this is terrible.
Exactly. It's kind of like Gragas. It's kind of like
exactly.
An AP mid and he's melee. It doesn't work. But it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, Fizz, he's just melee all around except that ult in a way. But I can't do the whole Kassadin thing. So
these summoner spells. Am I lagging out or something? Have you gone into the spectator delay 3 minute?
Yes, I have. I'm at 2 minutes and 44 seconds.
Wow, I haven't. This could be bad. For me, I don't know.
You should be able to.
I think we shall see. No, so can you tell me, did Baranabus and Corno 4825 change their summoner spells?
Let me look.
For me, Annie has Surge Flash, and Ezreal has Promote Surge.
Well, I'll run down real quickly. Over on the blue team, we do have Janna with Flash and Exhaust. We do have Skarner, of course, with Flash and Smite. You have MF, as you saw, with Flash and Heal. Akali with Flash and Ignite. Annie Flash and Ignite. Soraka also has Flash and Exhaust. Alistar, of course, Flash and Smite. Ezreal with Flash and Heal. Aurelia with Ghost and Teleport. Kassadin with Flash and Ignite.
Well, that's not good. I just got a message saying pvp.net error. Send error report, don't send error report. I'm going to go ahead and click don't send and just pray that somehow I'm able to get in game. So, the picks and bans went perfectly for me. I'm still getting chat in the Reddit in-house channel, so I'm not disconnected from pvp.net chat. Maybe the game will just sync up in a couple of seconds here. Tell me when it starts, okay? I think I discovered a bug last week. If you change your password... Oh, wow. I just started the spectator delay.
This is very interesting because I am definitely going to be ahead of you.
With this new pause feature, it's going to be fine.
Yes.
If it is the case that I'm like actually going to get in 30 seconds before, you could just pause and I'll let you know when I get in.
Well, I'm into the 50-second countdown. So
Oh wow.
I'm definitely gonna love seeing how this bottom play is gonna play out, because
Yep.
I view Soraka and Jenna as very strong supports that can go
Mhm.
head and head. While
Mhm.
Soraka can heal, she definitely has that great lane sustain.
Yep.
Jenna has just a great ability to separate fights or just peel people off of their
Yep.
carry in
Yep.
that bottom lane. So I am looking forward to that bottom lane matchup.
Yeah. Well,
It's
really, one of the weaknesses of Janna, if you play a lot of support against very good opponents, and I will admit I don't exactly know sort of the number of games played or the elo or whatever indicator you want to use the skill of Purple Team. We have seen a couple games from them and they do quite well. I don't know exactly their sort of higher level mechanics of knowing exactly how to kind of counter certain lanes, but Janna gets very, very, very shut down by poke, right? Because if you want a hard engage on Janna, if you're something like a Graves and you use your gap closer to go in and fire off a buckshot, she can shield a lot of the damage you deal with that buckshot very, very simply. However, against an Ezreal who's maybe just poking down either the Janna or the MF with constant harass or mystic shot, she can't really shield that because she doesn't the shield doesn't have 100% uptime, and as long as Ezreal can hit those mystic shots consistently and have Soraka just kind of provide him with a little bit more mana, Janna is going to sort of run out of mana trying to shield off that poke. So really, poke really does counter Janna. Champions like Caitlyn, who can just constantly auto attack for low damage, it all builds up over time. Because unlike a Soraka, who will just heal you up to full health, and negate like 5 or 6 auto attacks with one heal, Janna, she either has to make the decision to just tank the auto attack and get kind of poked down a little bit, lose a little bit of health, or shield it, which costs, of course, a lot of mana. So it is going to be interesting to see. I think Soraka Israel is a very good composition to run against Janna. So if BMT picked that with that in mind, it is going to be great to see them. Just going over the lane matchups one more time, it is going to be Skarner against Alistar in the jungle. Skarner, I think, scales a little bit better in the late game than Jungle Alistar. However, it all comes down to those early ganks. Caston scales much better than Annie in terms of damage, but Annie does have that AoE CC. Aurelia versus Akali up top. Akali is more of a damage dealer, Aurelia more of a tank. And so it's going to be interesting to see. I really do like the team comp from both teams here. It is nice to see that Jungle Alistar. By the way, I don't know if you have been watching these games. We saw a lot of Jungle Alistar very early on in these games because those ganks were just so strong. But I think it was actually WalleMarno who did such a terrific job of counter jungling Alistar to the point where he didn't even have like the basic like Shirelia's whatever items you want to get. Oh wow, and I just caught up entirely. I'm now 1 minute into the game.
Oh,
Okay.
you're 1 minute into the game, and I had paused myself. Let me go
So
ahead
just
and
click
get
J.
back up.
Yeah, if you click J, you'll jump ahead. What do you think about this new spectator mode Riot's released? It's with the time controls, the directed camera. Do you use it?
I think it is actually very interesting. I haven't really. I've spectated like my friends a little bit.
Yep.
I haven't really casted and done it, but it's great to get in there and kind of mess around. I will
Yeah.
admit that I did go and kind of slow-mo some fights. It was
Everything
very
looks
fun
better
to
in
watch.
slow-mo, right?
It does.
Yeah.
So I do think it is a great feature.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. One thing you have to be careful about is to not fall behind, right? If you start going back in time and looking at every fight in slow-mo, suddenly you're going to be like, wait, I'm 6 minutes behind this game. We did see, by the way, Red Team looked like they might have wanted to go for a little bit of a counter jungle. They have that Alistar who's very strong early game. However, then they decided, I'd rather, maybe they know WalleMarno's a very strong counter jungler. They instead decided just to back off. They do have that ward over at Tribrush, which will maybe prevent some early Skarner ganks on blue team. And it looks like Alistar is actually going to head down there. Maybe for the early gank on MF and Janna. Janna already taken down a little bit low. The shield is blown. This could be very good for Red Team. Looks like they're going to target... Oh, he missed the headbutt pulverize combo. And Janna kind of just ran away a long way. So not the most successful early game gank. That could have been huge, but very good job for Blue to kind of, the support got that exhaust down very quickly. The ward is now down in the Tribrush. They are going to be a lot safer. And Skarner, this is the power, you know, WalleMarno, in terms of his conceptual play, such a good jungler. He just saw that Alistair went bottom. He's going to go ahead and go for that red, maybe. He, Ethereon gets the stun down, the headbutt pulverized combo down on Baranabas. So we shall see. Looks like WalleMarno actually doesn't manage to get that big blue wraith. Alistair comes along and just gives it a quick uppercut. However, Ethereon in the enemy jungle. Ethereon is actually a level higher than WalleMarno, so this could be bad for blue. However, the stun goes down on Panic Button, the ignite goes down. This could be first blood here. That is first blood picked up by the ignite on Annie. However, Baranabas, wow, not actually going to go down. A nice flash coming out of the hands of Ethereon. Able to pick up the kill on Annie with that pulverize. Looks like Ezreal and Soraka were able to take down the MF, and a banana from, oh my god, able to pick up the kill. Were you watching that?
Yes, I was, and I was about to yell, oh, banana to the
Soraka
face.
play, the flash silence banana. Do you have banana fear? I've got banana fear. Those bananas.
I do get banana
hard.
fear. It's a very aggressive Soraka, and she's just like auto attack. I'm like, yeah, stop. They hurt. And we do see Skarner does pick up a kill on Alistar with an assist from Akali. They are going to go in and try and take down this Aurelia, but she is going to go ahead and go to her turret and get away. Yeah, Cassian is going to come back to try and help, but he's just going to back off.
Yeah, a good equilibrium strike there from Aurelia prevented the Akali from going any further. Akali is such an underrated solo top, I think. She has absurd amounts of damage, right? And people used to play her all the time as a solo mid, and really one of her weaknesses is that she is melee, and until you hit level 6, it's quite hard to kind of, you know, just CS and get some damage down. But when you're against a melee like Aurelia, she's actually so strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw sort of a comeback of Akali. Around Season 1 finals at DreamHack, we saw her, of course, being played a lot by Westrice, and it was so scary. It was like a perma-ban. If you didn't ban Westrice as Akali, you were going to lose the game. And we shall see exactly how it goes this game. She does have very strong damage, and she scales very well in the late game, especially once you hit level 6. She is just very scary. So it's gonna be interesting to see exactly how Aurelia can handle the Akali up top.
I'm definitely curious to see, because Akali's one of those I don't ever see her really brought out much anymore unless it's somebody who's a very good Akali player. But as I do take a quick gander at mid, I'm actually kind of surprised to see that.
By the way, we do see a gank up top from Alistair, so I'm just gonna say, you know, keep your eyes out up top.
Yeah, I'm looking there too.
Okay, cool.
But I was just going to quickly point out that Cassian is actually beating Annie in CS. Alistar is going to go ahead and back away and enter back into his jungle. Down bottom, we will see Israel and Soraka being pushed up to their turret.
This is really interesting. I mean, Annie is just so strong early game. It looks like Baranabas is actually maxing his Q and not his W. This is the second time I think we've seen Annie played in the in-house, and both times around they've done this. Really, I think Annie is strong if you kind of just keep that stun passive up, max W, and just put down some consistent poke on an enemy champion. She has a reliable stun, which is excellent. She has some nice AoE damage. She has some short cooldowns. Her problem is really range. So it'd be good to see Baranabas putting a little bit more harass on a Kassadin, as he is not a long-range caster. Against someone like Cassiopeia, you find it very hard to even, you know, get to the minion wave and start auto-attacking to get the CS. But really against Kassadin, he shouldn't be having that much trouble. But at any rate, it looks like he might be heading up top, or it looks like Skarner and Baranabas on Annie have kind of grouped up and are maybe going to head up top and pick up a kill on Deatherus, who is still level 5. Skarner and Annie heading behind Aurelia. This could be very bad for her. Akali gonna find Aurelia. This is almost certainly going to be a kill. She's only level 5. The stun goes down. Almost certainly going to be a kill. Oh, and I was going to say Baranabas not going to get greedy for that kill and use her ulti. However, she did go ahead and use that. Going to be a little bit weaker in lane. Cassidy picking up blue now, which is very good for him. He has hit level 6. It's sort of like both Akali and Cassidy are these champs you don't really see very much because they are very sort of weak pre-6. and a lot of good players will just shut you down so hard and never let you get to that stage where you can get super scary. And he didn't really do a very good job of doing that, and Cassidy actually out CSing her. She does have 2 kills. Actually, going for that cage is a lucky pick. I wonder if we will see a DFG. Baranabas and I, we play together a lot, and I think he knows what I think about the DFG. I think for a long time, even before this recent remake, I thought it's just such a excellent and underrated item. So maybe he's doing this as a shout out to his good buddy Milk.
I have to agree. I have to agree. It is such a great item. I like when I'm playing a Soraka or any type of support down bottom. I love taking it, not only because of what a DFG does, but because it gives a little bit extra ability power and a little oomph, I like to say, into, you know, like Jenna's shield or, you know, a heal or what have you. So I think it provides a good amount of help into that lane.
And the thing is, it's like, I love doing a lot of math craft too in League. I am one of those nerds who like opens up an Excel spreadsheet. Oh, sorry, I'm missing a gank down bot. Annie coming in doesn't have that ulti. I was looking at that last hitting. But no, it looks like Skarner does have ulti. He is going to go ahead and use it on Soraka. They did blow a lot of cooldowns on that Soraka to pick up that kill. However, it is fine. Getting the kill is worth a lot. Ezreal just making sure you can put down a lot of harass onto the Skarner. Alistar's around. Cassidy is actually around in the Dragon Pit. They can actually, this could be good for them. There's the silence. There's the ulti. There's the ignite. Oh, and Annie actually has the ulti back off cooldown. Janna does go down. Looks like MF is taken very low. And Ezreal is actually taking a lot of damage from that bear. That bear, of course, does a lot of AoE damage once it's summoned. It has sort of a Sunfire Cape type aura, which deals persistent magic damage to all nearby enemies. So that was a 1-for-1 exchange, I believe. Janna went down, and Soraka went down bot. Annie able to get the ulti down, but not really as much damage as I would have expected. Cassidy actually running a full MR rune page. I didn't notice that earlier. He has 51 magic resist.
Well, I think especially for him, because he is a melee, you know, champion, he's going to have to get closer to those minions, making them more susceptible to that harass. And Annie should be able to harass Cassidy out of lane just because she has a little bit of, she has range on him. So I can understand taking magic resistance as a smart choice for that. And, you know, so far it's done well for him. You know, he's able to get, he does have 1 death, but he does have 2 assists, and he has a little bit more CS than her.
And I mean, that fight, you saw the anti-tibbers hit him straight on, and it, you know, he was forced to flash out, but really it wasn't as much damage as you'd otherwise suspect.
Up top, we do have Akali and Aurelia going after each other. Akali was able to do quite a bit of damage to Aurelia, but then just all those minions just turned on her, and all that damage adds up. You always have to be careful whenever you go into a large group of minions like that and see what side in the favor it's going to be on.
Oh, Deathra's actually, I think, spotting the Annie on a ward maybe, or maybe just the Mia was called, and they were like, you need to be a little careful, but actually forced to pop that ghost to get away from Akali.
Well, we do see a blue ward into the tri-bush. Aurelia does put down a purple ward in there, and there is a pink ward in the bush in the river. So she did have a little bit of time to see Annie coming up to her. If an MIA was called, we don't know, but there were wards placed.
No, there's a very good ward in the river, and also I just noticed this ward at Wraiths, which I think is the route Annie traveled. Alright, so we are now 11 minutes in the game, sort of maybe getting to the point where a team is going to want to force a kill and then go for a dragon. Both AD carries, of course, going to be doing a lot of damage. Neither jungler picking up a Wriggles. Both of them are sort of the tankier type junglers. However, that isn't to say that Skarner has slow jungle clear times. Not quite as fast as someone with a Wriggles would otherwise have, but still not slow in and of itself. So maybe, you know, a strong gank mid, a strong gank bot is going to really open up that advantage for them, especially if we see one of the solo tops going down. Aurelia does have teleport, however, it is off cooldown for another 130 seconds. Lots of damage actually going down. Unlucky with the arcane shift, was a little too late. Banana doing a great job to dodge the Ezreal ulti. And that Skarner ulti, of course, it's sort of like a Garen ult. If you can kind of get it sort of as they flash away, it will often go off after they flash. And pretty much that's exactly what happened for Ezreal. He used his Arcane Shift to get away, but it was a little bit too late, and the Skarner ulti just dragged him right back. So it looks like now we see 12 minutes 40 seconds into the game is around the time blue buff will spawn for the second time, and they sink that kill perfectly. Really going down low up top, but I'm not going to move because I want to see exactly what's happening. It looks like Alistar might be taken down here. The ulti is blown on the single target. However, that is going to be a double buff picked up for the Annie. Akali was also actually taken down up top to the turret. I think that Soraka ulti, I don't even know if they realized that was going on. Maybe the Soraka ulti was instead, used for this fight down here to save Alistar, but it actually let Aurelia stay alive long enough for the for her to get a little bit of extra damage down and pick up the kill there. I think maybe the turret also helped out in that regard. So we do see 13 minutes 45 seconds in the game, blue team picking up the first dragon. They were able to pick up about a 2k gold lead after that counter jungling where they picked up 2 kills, 1 top and 1 over at blue buff, followed by a dragon. So nicely done by them. I think a little bit of a risky counter jungle as they didn't really have any good vision on there. The Alistar actually, I think, got the smite steal off, but it didn't really make a difference because Annie did pick up the kill with her Tibbers and Ignite, cutting right through that damage reduction on his ulti.
Well, if you watch, you actually see Alistar try to make it away, but then he was ignited, and he got so low, he knew he was going to die, so he actually just stopped. He was like, there's nothing he can do. He can't flash. No sense of trying to waste his flash that was up. And, it's just, you got to accept it for what it is and just die. So
it was interesting, though. Annie dropped the ulti on the Alistar, who had his ulti ticking, instead of actually putting it down on the Kassadin and Soraka right there. Lots of a huge trade. I mean, this is really what solo top is all about. You deal 60% of the enemy health, and then you get up to the minion wave. You start auto attacking either with the Wriggles or some passive sustain. Akali, of course, has some nice spell vamp from her passive, as well as that Will of the Ancients. And that's what solo top's all about. It's about trading and sustain. In 90% of the matchups you'll see up there in the current meta. And this one is no different. You can see Akali already regenning about 20 to 30% of her health. Aurelia going to do the same once she can get some auto attacks down on these creeps. Akali did do a good job of pushing Aurelia into the turret, which is going to shut down the amount of harassment she has. Alistar's heading upriver. Skarner's waiting around in the mid lane. Alistar with the oracles. This could be bad for Akali. Actually, a nice job from Akali, able to get that juke off. Kassadin is heading up top. Maybe wants to help secure this kill on Akali. She is almost certainly going to go down. She has nowhere to run. The slow goes down, and there's the kill. Picked up for Kassadin, which is actually his first kill of the game. Kassadin is sort of a little bit weaker in the early game, and being able to pick up a kill or two, you really snowball very hard.
Exactly. So that was a kill that was needed to go to Kassadin. Even though he is doing great in CS down bottom, we see
a huge tower dive going off, and Banana actually taking one turret hit too many, didn't fall back the safe way and regroup with his team at blue buff. So that was a kill picked up for Ezreal, who's actually 2-1-2, has a BF sword and 2 Durand's ring, so he hits very hard. Sacred Venge going for that Wriggles build. I did criticize it last time around, however, when you don't have sustain and you're against this sort of poke, it is very good. That armor, that lifesteal. So he is a little bit aggressive right now. I guess they do have eyes on the Kassadin mid, but he might get killed by this Ezreal if he steps out of position. Ezreal, of course, lots and lots of magic damage. That Wriggles with the armor, not going to do a whole lot about that. And she does have her heal up. She does have flash up. But you don't want to have to load those summoners unnecessarily. Oh my god, going in a bit.
Sorry?
I was going to say, oh my god, I was actually going in a little bit, kind of to maybe try and zone Sacred Venge out. However, Janna did show up and kind of scare in the way a bit.
Well, that Wriggle build is very nice. I mean, MF for one doesn't have a Sona or a Taric to kind of give health back. So that Wriggle build, I mean, you see her, she did get very low as Israel tried to take her down, but she's just healing herself off of those minions. So it's definitely great for her in trying to keep sustain in lane. Israel and Soraka will go ahead and go back. Israel is going to go ahead and pick up a Black Cleaver, which I find very interesting.
I like it a lot.
I find it very interesting. I normally don't like to get Black Cleavers if I need. Well, I do enjoy them, but unless like I see some armor in the other team, I don't pick it up unless it's like my third item. Really? I like picking up, you know, an IE or
the thing about the Black Cleaver, though. The thing about the Black Cleaver is against armor. Last Whisper is almost always the better choice. Ezreal's a little bit of a special situation, special case, because he can apply that proc from range. Actually, I'm going to stop talking here because Janna does get found by Alistar. The silence goes down. Oh, and Ethereon just sort of out of range. So much damage going down on a Janna, though. They have to be careful, though. Alistar should really head in here. The ulti is almost certainly going to... Oh, wow! And then Janna actually sending both of the enemy team over the wall. Alistar, with that ulti pop, is going to be healing, able to tank a lot of damage. Aurelia coming in with that teleport, able to pick up the kill on WalleMarno, able to pick up the kill on Annie. Did you see that Janna ulti knocking both of them over the wall? Just barely.
That was an amazing ulti.
That was a very bad ulti.
That was just two people that, you just want out of the fight. She did it perfectly. They were pushed up over the edge. But, it's like... It was a beautiful fight, but I will say I am slightly sad that Soraka picked up that kill on Annie, because that bounty went to Soraka, and that's not who you want that to go to.
We may see things a little bit differently. I actually think that ulti wasn't so good. Skarner, I think, was going in to get the ulti down, and that Janna ulti was used for the heal component because she was taken very low, and I don't think they actually wanted to knock her out of the fight. I think that they actually wanted to, use the Annie ult, the Skarner ult to get them down. Oh wow, this is excellent play here from Red Team. They did have that timer, and they were instead deciding to just they know there are no wards because they have that Oracles. They were deciding to maybe just go for the wall bang, if you will. They knew the enemy team didn't have vision, and I think they were just waiting for, the Janna to go ward it or something. MF did, however, ward with that Wriggles over the wall. So anyway, last Whisper. Oh wow, actually lots and lots of damage coming down from Ezreal onto the Soraka. Soraka doesn't have her... Ooh, and actually Ezreal forced the flash. Soraka doesn't have her ulti up. It is just now off cooldown.
Interesting enough, while all that was going down, Akali did take the first tower in the game up top, and even though she did take that tower, Purple Team is now ahead 20 minutes and 30 seconds into the game with 24.8k gold to Blue Team's 25.7. They do have a 2-kill lead over the Blue Team now, which we saw early on. Blue was in the lead.
Yeah. So, I mean, they did trade the Dragon for the turret. Turret's, of course, worth more in terms of map control. However, I think Dragon just giving you a little bit more gold, about 200 more gold globally. So it looks like they're just going to go ahead and back off down bot. By the way, about Black Cleaver, Ezreal's a little bit of a special case because he can apply the Black Cleaver proc with his Q. But most AD champs, with that physical damage on their abilities, scale very well from Last Whisper. And Last Whisper does scale better against higher armor targets, tanks and things like that. And it also doesn't require stacks to kind of build up. We do see Annie coming down bot, and I think that was picked up on a ward, so Red Team is just going to maybe give up this turret and go ahead, go back. But anyway, the thing about Black Cleaver is it gives you a little bit of attack speed, and it gives you quite a fair amount of damage for a very low price. So early on in the game, especially since MF picked up that Wriggles, it does give Ezreal a great ability to trade. Janna getting caught by the Alistar, the Kassadin, the Soraka, and the Ezreal. A very nice flash in from Alistar. Gets the knockup onto the MF. A very good flash, though, over that wall. Might be able to get away, although she is being chased by Cass. A little bit of indecision in where exactly she's going to go. She does have that passive starting build up, but she is going to get caught now by the Kassadin. Almost certainly going to be a kill here. Nowhere she can really run. She has used that flash. The auto attacks are starting to go down, however. A nice headbutt pulverized combo. There's the kill. Picked up with the ulti from Panic Button. Soraka ulting a little bit late. I think she just wanted to get the assist there. Unless she's going for the ulti up top, where Akali is now just so dominant. Has that Wodo built up. Has the Spell Pen boots. Aurelia does have a Wit's End, and actually double GP5 picked up on Aurelia. GP5 items obviously make you a little bit weaker compared to actually buying, real stat-based items. However, they do scale very well in the late game. And it would be interesting to see if Aurelia holds on to them, or if she does want to maybe pick up like a Shirley's Reverie, Randuin's Omen, 2 very strong items that build out of those GP5. Shirley's Reverie, I think, on tanks is actually very underrated. It's a fantastic item, and even buying 2 of them, you know, if the Alistair buys one and the Aurelia buys them, that is going to be very, very, very strong.
I do agree. I always in love, like, especially the support, Aurelius is great. And if you have 2, you have one for engage or a disengage. And I think it's a very great item to have. I know I love building it whenever I play Leona, who I do build as a straight tank. But I love it on my supports. And when I see 2, it kind of makes me happy because you do have a way to start a fight and then disengage a fight. I will say this, Aurelia has kept her own in lane, as she has been pretty much 2 levels behind this Akali. Akali starts out dealing all this great damage, but Aurelia can turn it around and just deal it right back to her.
And it is also interesting to see how many pink wards the Aurelia has bought, especially now that Alistair has oracles. I don't know exactly why she is deciding to do that. By the way, in terms of itemization, you know, this is sort of a funny game. We see, of course, the Black Cleaver being picked up on Ezreal, which we've talked about a fair amount. Kassadin actually decided to go for that Magi Soul Stealer. He has got 5 stacks, and I think it becomes stat efficient at 8 stacks. Especially if he's going to go for that death cap a little later on, it's also going to be, you know, that is going to be a very, very, very scary Kassadin. If he can get, you know, around 10 stacks and hold on to them with a death cap, it is going to be a tremendous amount of AP. Once you get to that kind of like, guys, you know, this Kassadin
but
has
down
10
bottom though, we do have Skarner ulting onto the Israel. Janna trying to break up the fight. Annie, though, coming down, getting the kill onto Israel. They are going to turn for the Soraka now.
Ooh, a very good...
trying to get away. He is tanking that turret.
Yeah, a very good headbutt from Banana. Sorry, a very good tornado from Banana, able to shut down Etherion's headbutt mid kind of, you know, the animation had gone off, and he got knocked up mid animation. Aurelia gets taken down very low by Akali. She does use that equilibrium sight. There is the flash in under turret range, and an auto attack consumed that mark of the assassin. Which deals so much magic damage right now, about 300 base and about 150 scaling from the AP she's got. Looks like she's building that Rylai's, and once that happens, it is going to be very, very, very scary. Akali maybe just going to go down and farm up the wolves. She wants a little bit extra gold. I think she's about 400 gold away from picking up a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, which is really going to improve the amount of utility she has with that slow, and the amount of stickiness she has to kind of, you know, use that ulti to get in on someone, slow them down, and then just chase them in team fights. Very strong against Kassadin, very strong against Ezreal. You know, people with blinks get pretty hard countered by just consistent slows, because if you slow someone down a lot, when they blink away, you can still catch up to them and reapply that slow. So Rylai's definitely a good choice. Akali, quite a good choice against Kassadin, I will say. You can kind of stick on him after he uses Rift Walk. Kassadin making his way over this wall. I don't know if he got spotted by a ward. Lots of wards going down for blue team because Dragon is now up. Aurelia gonna do a good job of pushing because she knows she has that teleport off cooldown. Maybe gonna want to equalize the turret advantage. Blue team, of course, with mid and top turret down. However, nope. Doesn't look like they're really going to be able to. Oh no, but there is the teleport. We shall see how this goes. A nice Ezreal hits all of them. Akali gets taken down very low. The MF ulti goes off. The Annie ulti goes off in the middle of that fight. Aurelia, the first one to fall to Akali. John is very, very low on health, but they don't want to blow all their cooldowns on that. Ezreal is down. Aurelia is down for red team. And it looks like Soraka gets taken low. Kassadin not dealing as much damage as he wanted to. Takes the Annie very low on health. We'll see exactly what he could do. Janna very low on health. Kassadin sees that. Nice tornado from Janna, able to back it, keep him at bay. However, the Annie so low on health, the Kassadin so low on health, and really that could have been another 4 free Magi stacks, which is very scary. You really don't want to let Kassadin sit at the back of these team fights and kind of, go in with his Q when he wants to. You need to shut him down a lot harder. However, very nice job from blue team, able to pick up the kill on Aurelia very early on, able to pick up the kill on Ezreal, and Soraka soon falling. So it was, oh wow, lots of damage going down on the Sacred Venge. He does take a couple of hits from the turret. Panic button, maybe saying that he doesn't want to give up a third turret. If bot turret goes down, it will be all outer turrets down for red team. Do you have colorblind mode on, by the way? Is it purple or red for you?
It is purple for me, but I know who, have I been saying purple?
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't use colorblind mode either, but not this most recent patch, but the patch, I think it was a hot fix for Hecarim. The spec, they added, red team turret has been destroyed, so that was annoying me that I saw it as purple and it was saying red, so I went, you know, I might as well just change it now.
Oh
so
yeah,
now
I did notice that before. It was saying red team turret has been destroyed when I had it on purple. I should turn it on colorblind mode, especially when I am casting. But
I mean, for
hard
the other thing,
not colorblind.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't used to it, but the other thing is that blue and purple, especially you know on a stream, because there's you know compression and things to think about. It does actually make it you know a little bit harder for stream viewers to find. That Phantom Dancer being picked up along with the BF Sword for MF, she is doing a very good job of staying at the top of the pack in terms of CS. 202 CS, 28 minutes in the game, a good 30 CS lead over this Ezreal. Casting with only 119 CS mid, but he does have, of course, that Mage Eyes, so he gets a little bit of extra AP, even though his CS is quite low. Annie with 146. Ooh, and a disconnect coming out from Akali. I hope that isn't going to be a big deal. It would be a shame to see a game decided by a DC. At any rate, you know, this patch there are a lot of sort of micro disconnects and things. Lots and lots of damage going in. Ezreal actually deciding to go in with his Arcane Shift. Ooh, and Ethereum just not so hot on the WQ combos today. That is, of course, a relatively challenging combo to pull off. It's one of the few true combos in the game, which is all about kind of the timing of the skill. Gives a little bit more depth to Alistar. And Akali did, thankfully, reconnect, by the way.
I will agree. Alistar is one of those. In about every role that I play, there's about 1 or 2 characters I can't play. And I say 2 because I can't play LeBlanc or Kassadin mid. But Alistar is one of those I struggle with support because of that combo. I'm okay with him in lane. I can do what I need to do with him in lane. But I get out of lane with him or try jungling with him. And I can't do it. So I always have to give props to people that can pull things off rather well that I can't. So
for those of you who may be watching the stream wondering how to hit a WQ combo, the milk technique is to hold down shift to smart cast and then just get in range and then just go did it and hit WQ and it works. I don't know, that's all I can really say. WalleMarno actually coming in behind red team is going to be found by this Kassadin, puts the silence down, and Kassadin and Ezreal are both going to use their blink abilities to get away from that Skarner ulti. Of course, a 2-second suppress right now, 1.75 second suppress, is also going to be able to bring them back into the team where maybe there's going to be a Janna knock-up, an Annie stun. Akali going in, looks like a... Oh wow, and a beautiful flash over that wall. Kassadin is going to get taken down so fast. Oh no, but the Janna ulti actually saving them.
It looks like Kassadin is going to make it out of the fight.
Wow. But actually, so much magic damage coming down from this Akali. First picking up the Ezreal, then picking up the Soraka. Alistar gets taken down very low. Who was that? I believe Aurelia able to pick up the kill onto Akali. No, it was actually the Kassadin. So Kassadin did make it out of that, but then he did also die. He is now down back to 5 stacks after picking up that kill. Obviously, Magi's Soul Sailor, if I need to explain, it's not an item you see every day in competitive League of Legends. Every time you get a kill, you get 2 stacks. Every time you get an assist, you get 1 stack. And then what that does is, you know, the more kills and assists you get without dying, the more AP you will build up. It is one of 3 stacking items, along with Sword of the Occult for AD and Leviathan for HP. You don't see it anymore because Kassadin, you know, sort of an assassin. Who, you know, he's a little bit slippery, he has a lot of mobility, but if he dies, you lose half of your stacks. So it's a very risky item to buy. Not an item you see every day. It looks like maybe Baron, you know, Baron, 31 minutes into the game, either team can easily go ahead and take Baron if they get a clear lead. Skarner, WalleMarno just going to go ahead and clear the Baron pit. Doesn't make sense for them to Baron right now because they do have 2k gold on Annie and 2k gold on MF. MF finally picking up that Infinity Edge, in fact, which is huge for her. Really going to increase the amount of damage, especially relative to Ezreal, who only has a Black Cleaver and a BF Sword. MF with a 50 gold lead and, of course, those global objectives. Doesn't actually have as many kills as Ezreal, but in terms of the gold that they both have, Ezreal, his gold level just went over 9,000. If only he was Pulsefire Ezreal, I could make that relevant joke. But because he is using the stock skin and Pulsefire Ezreal is not yet released, I can't. However, 10.5k gold on MF, 9,000 gold on Ezreal, so about a 1,500 gold lead for blue team's AD carry. Maybe I'll go over the gold. It looks like both teams are going to kind of posture if they can get a pick. Maybe red team's going to want to also, by the way, push down some turrets. Blue team obviously having pushed down mid, top, and then 2 turrets down bot. Aurelia still kind of split pushing top. She knows she has that teleport where she can kind of, assist her team with that teleport if they need it. But yeah, in terms of gold, we have 10.5k on Annie to only 7k on Caston, so a huge 3,000 gold lead there. Kali with 9.5k to Aurelia's 9.2k, so that's a little bit more of an even lane. And then in the jungle, we do see Skarner with a lot more gold picked up. Alistar getting caught out a little bit by Akali, but Akali, as the assassin, knows she doesn't want to head straight for the tank and blow all her cooldowns on someone who she's not going to be able to kill. And I think now red team, blue team's done a fantastic job of clearing out vision. I'm going to switch ahead and see what red team sees. Alistar's actually walking into a brush where all four are waiting. The ulti goes down. Those are a lot of cooldowns to be blown on the tank. However, he didn't get that ulti off in time, and instead, red team isn't going to decide to fight that. Probably the wise decision when you lose your tank. However, if the tank does tank all of the cooldowns of the enemy team, he's sort of done his job. But instead, it looks like red team's just going to give up a free Baron, go back and maybe try and turtle a bit, only fight under turret. However, Skarner so far, WalleMarno has really done a fantastic job of engaging. Janna doesn't have that Shirley's Reverie built up, so they're not going to be able to get behind this enemy team as quick as they'd otherwise like. Ezreal and Caston are spotted by that ward. Janna Tornado just barely missing, and they are going to be able to blink away to safety. Now comes the time where red team has to just kind of turtle under their turrets.
It is smart for the red team to just go ahead and push back, even though Alistar did tank all of their cooldowns, all of their ultis. It doesn't really make much sense for them to go in because they're one character down at that point. I mean, they still have their normal abilities to use, and blue team is ahead almost 5k gold in this match, so it just wasn't smart for them. So they are going to have to stay back, fall back, and defend what is theirs. Blue team will go ahead and pick up Dragon again. I believe this is their third Dragon in the game.
Yep.
And you just right now, I mean, we kind of look, no turrets have been down for the blue team. So while fights have happened or characters have been missing out of lane, they haven't taken advantage to go ahead and push towers when needed. So it's one of those things where they're slowly starting to fall back, and blue team is starting to snowball at this point. Yep. And we're going to see blue team want to take this advantage and get more ahead than what they are.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, obviously the Baron buff provides you a nice little amount of AD and AP, of course attack damage, scaling off of certain abilities, but also more importantly the auto attacks, and then AP is the general sort of magical damage ability scaling in the game. But really what's important about Baron buff is that it provides you with that nice health regen, which is percentage of max HP. So if we compare Ezreal, right now he's got 14 HP per 5. MF with pretty much the similar items, but with that Baron buff has 80 HP per 5. So what that means is that if Ezreal and MF both get taken down to 10% health, Ezreal's going to go ahead and have to go back to his base to get some health back, whereas MF can kind of just use that passive. Oh, and a nice Skarner ulti going down up top. The Deathfire Grasp used by Burnaboss and just obliterating this Akali. This Aurelia. She has 138 MR with that Wit's End. She did go for the Triforce, so she has both a Wit's End and a Triforce. I like to say that Wit's End is not a tank item, it's a damage item. It does give you some nice tank stats, however, really, you're paying a lot for the attack speed and a lot for that, that 42 magic damage per auto attack. Really, I would have liked to see her maybe pick up a GA, a Frozen Heart, some other sort of magic resist item before completing that Triforce. Alistar going in there, forced to use his ulti very, very late. The Akali gets in on the Ezreal and takes him down very low. Someone was just forced to flash away. I think that was the Cassidon. Still only sitting at 5 stacks. Has built up those Stork Shoes and the Abyssal Scepter, which is going to do a lot of damage to low MR targets. However, none of the blue team really quite low on MR. MF has picked up that Negatron cloak. Janna with the Aegis of the Legion going to provide a nice AoE aura that provides magic resist and armor to her team. Alistar doesn't have his ulti up anymore though, and he is going to go down very, very, very fast. Skarner actually forced to use that ulti on him to pick up some damage, and you can just see the tank line for blue just they get taken down so fast. Akali actually taking a lot of damage from that from the base turrets, and he putting the damage down on Israel. However, that was a 2-for-3 exchange, which was a little bit actually sloppy from blue. If you have the Baron buff, if you have a 13k gold lead, it's not even so worth it just to trade kills. You need to do better than that. You need to make, you know, the 5-for-0 play where you get the ace and you push Baron. So I think just a little bit greedy for them to push the the Akali went into turret range. Skarner used his ulti on the Alistar, so they didn't have the CC that they wanted down on either the Kassadin or the Ezreal, and they paid for that with a 2-for-3 exchange, which, you know, still sort of goes in their favor, but it's not as good as maybe, you know, the 5-for-0 with the Nexus down. At any rate, you know, we have seen a very, very, very dominant, kind of play throughout the game from blue team, really doing a good job of counter jungling, securing those buffs, pushing as a team. And not only that, but the overall just, you know, the I guess the more mechanical side of things, the CS, you know, number of skill shots hit, builds, you know, the Annie with the Death Fire Grasp, Void Staff, and a Death Cap, far outscaling a Abyssal Magi's Tear of the Goddess Kassadin. So if you look at the AP, Kassadin with only 276, Annie with 577, also picking up now a Morella's Evil Tome. Just so much damage coming out of the hands of Annie, whereas Kassadin, you know, I mean, he is behind in terms of gold, but his items certainly don't help. At any rate, you know, this is a very dominant position for blue team. They're now 13k in the lead. They have 2 inhibitors down. I would like to see them push bot turret, pick up the 3rd inhibitor, and then just make a nice, nice sort of push into the enemy base, take down those double nexus turrets, and win the game. Inhibitors, by the way, do respawn. So those super minions that you see spawning for blue team aren't going to be around forever. However, we shall see exactly if red team is able to turtle up long enough, get the inhibitors respawned, and turn the game around. Nice ulti going down from Ezreal. I think just being used to clear sort of the creeps off of this turret. They need to be careful because super minions are pushing in mid and top, and if they stick around too long down bot, they can maybe have super minions taking down this Nexus turret without their help. And I think really blue team's doing the smart thing. They know that those minions are going to push, they're just going to make a long, slow push onto this turret. League of Legends is not a deathmatch, it is a pushing game, and I say that pretty much every time I cast, but it is important to note the team who takes down the enemy Nexus wins. No sort of exceptions or anything.
Well, yes, I agree. While it does help to have all these kills and everything,
by the way, the flash ulti from Skarner goes down onto the Kassadin. Granabas doing an excellent job to put down that DFG on a cast and just obliterates him once again with his full combo. And it looks like they are putting a lot of damage down on Alistar. Sacred Bend was taking the turret a little bit too long, however. She is just going to use that heal. Skarner goes down up top. Akali gets the exhaust down. Janna gets the exhaust down on Ezreal, which allows Akali to pick up the kill. Almost certainly would have been down. And this is so far a 4-for-2 exchange. They've lost sort of the melee champions, but that MF is alive, the Annie is alive, and only Soraka around to defend the base. Not going to do a good job with that. MF actually get to use the ulti. Janna actually gets taken down by the Nexus turret. Very well played from blue team. Fantastic job. You know, the MF and the Annie and the Akali dealing so much damage, and then WalleMarno, the single-handed, you know, the solo tank line for that team did a great job of kind of initiating those fights, really in blue team's favor. So, very interesting game to watch.
It was a very great game to watch. It was great to see. You know, you kind of go back and forth in terms of the kills and the goal, and then just domination towards that late game there. I did love and enjoy seeing Kassadin definitely hold his own early game against Annie, which is not something we see quite often, but he was definitely smart in his gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I really also like to see the item builds here. I really do. It was nice to see the Wriggles build being used so effectively by Misfortune. It was nice to see my sort of personal love of the Deathfire Grass sort of vindicated a little bit, because I think it is a tremendous item, and it sort of gives you, another single target spell to use in your full combo. And you saw that Annie would open up with the Deathfire Grasp and then drop, the Disintegrate, the Incinerate, I think, and then of course her Bear Tibbers, and she would just one shot anyone, turning it into an instant 4v5. So the combination of Skarner and Annie really did a fantastic job to let blue team kind of snowball this in their favor. Um, the Black Cleaver build on Ezreal, I think, is very strong early game. However, they didn't really get a chance to use it so well. I think he was going, building that to kind of maybe try and counter the armor that she got very early on from Misfortune got from the Wriggles, which does, of course, provide you with about 30 armor. So the 45 armor penetration once you get 3 stacks, armor reduction once you get 3 stacks of that Black Cleaver is going to do a nice job. However, I think a lot of that just came down to the fact that blue team so dominant in the way they grouped up, so dominant in the way they counter jungled, took objectives, pushed turrets, and really that global gold just started stacking up. Like you said early on, it was sort of an even game. It was anyone's game. The CS was sort of even. The kills were a little bit even. Caston was actually doing a great job to sort of out-farm Annie very early on. So I'm not so happy with the build choices. That Magi Soul Stealer is very risky. And really Ezreal's Black Cleaver didn't give him the sort of early game lead he wanted. But at any rate, fantastic job from both teams. And I think I'm going to say what I always say, which is GGWP. Any final thoughts, by the way, before I go ahead and move on? I think we got another game lined up.
No, just thank you for having me, and thank you to both the teams for letting me cast.
You did a great job, by the way, of when I was blabbling on about armor reduction or whatever I do, you were like, there's a fight going down up top, which is a little bit more interesting if you want to. So anyway.
Every time I listen to you cast, you're always kind of solo. So I think whenever I do that with people, they get used to solo casting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just okay. I'm just gonna let you go on. I'm gonna look at things, and I'm like, hey, you definitely,
you're missing
just, like,
the action up top.
Like,
no.
Yeah,
no,
I'm sorry if I cut
the problem.
in.
That's the problem, and that's why you really want a sort of co-cast position, because I personally, when I'm casting, I love to hear the caster's thoughts on sort of, what's going on in the game. But really, the drawback of that is that 90% of the time when they're talking about something inconsequential, you as the viewer are looking at the mini map saying, "Oh, look at this idiot." Skarner and Skarner and Annie are up top lane, and he's missing out. So no, you are the yin to my yang. Excellent job co-casting this time around. I'm going to go ahead and end this recording. Thanks everyone for tuning in. VODs will be up on youtube.com/m1lkcast. If you're viewing the VODs on youtube.com/m1lkcast, the stream is twitch.tv/m1lkcast or just m1lkcast.com. We are casting almost every day. Lots of in-house games and lots of 5v5 kind of scrims and league play and things. If you want to get in on the in-house games, go ahead and join the Reddit in-house channel on the NA server. For now, nothing planned for the EU, but if you are on the NA server, go ahead, join us in the Reddit in-house channel, and get your games streamed, casted, and recorded and put up on YouTube. So once again, thank you very much for co-casting with me. It was a lot of fun. And congratulations to Team WalleMarno's Backpack to pick up the victory against Team BMT. Going to go ahead and end the recording and move on to the next game.